It's Charter Local Edition. I'm Brad Pomerance. We're joined today by Debbie Arnold. She is the chair of the Board of Supervisors in San Luis Obispo County on the Central Coast. And Madam Supervisor, I look at this map. This is a U.S. seasonal drought outlook, and this map is looking towards the future, which is key. And we can see California is over here, and it is all brown. And what brown signifies is that the drought persists and intensifies.
This is our fourth year, so this is a very severe drought cycle. And you can see the entire western United States or west coast of the United States is really suffering. But the long-range forecasts, not that they're 100% predictable, are talking about a very wet year and possibly starting early.
Right, so El Nino, which we know and love, or at least we want to know and love. I've heard predictions which have the El Nino coming this winter, 15-16, at 80%.
Yeah.
So it is possible, but at the same time, we're suffering a bit. I mean, here in San Luis Obispo County, where we are today, we are at D4, which is considered exceptional, an exceptional drought. I mean, should we be spooked? Should we be scared? What's your sense?
We should be concerned, and as always, we should be able to learn from history. As every decade passes, California becomes more populated, and then when California is hit with a drought cycle this severe, it's difficult. There's a lot of responsibility to deliver water to both urban areas, and then agriculture is a pretty big deal in California.
Let's talk about the delivery of water. We'll talk about ag as well. So in this county, in San Luis Obispo County, there are 4 reservoirs. I'm holding up this map, and this map actually is quite effective because it shows the relative size of the reservoirs.
Correct.
But what we're getting out of this is that the yellow is empty, the blue is full. And so as we look at this map, we can see that Salinas Reservoir is at 16%. We can see that Lopez is at 37%. Nacimiento is at 27%, and Whale Rock at 42%.
That's right. And each one of those reservoirs service a different part of the county. Our county historically has been more dependent on groundwater than it has on surface water. But as our urban areas grow, then of course the surface water is what delivers into these more urban areas. And the Salinas River, that's 16%. 16% small. The reservoir holds in total a little more than 23,000 acre feet. So when it's down to 3,000 acre feet, it's getting low. That is a supply that San Luis Obispo City depends on. And San Luis Obispo City has been really great in preparing for something like this. Their portfolio is really
broad. Let me ask you about Nacimiento, because that obviously is the largest of the reservoirs. You can see here, just based upon this representation.
300 compared. 23,000 acre feet in Salinas and 377,000 acre feet. Nacimiento is very large. So when it is down to 27% of capacity, you still have over 100,000 acre feet. Almost all the other reservoirs in total combined would equal what's still left in Nacimiento. But Nacimiento is not our reservoir.
Wait a second. Could you explain that, Madam Supervisor? There it is. It's in San Luis Obispo County.
That's right.
How is it not our reservoir?
It was built by Monterey County when they saw the need for a future water supply. And at that time in our North County, people thought, we're never going to need that. So the reservoir really is under the control of Monterey, and that's their supply of water. Kind of in the last, I'm told, in the last part of the negotiations, San Luis Obispo County negotiated 17,500, I'm ballparking those numbers, but 17,500 acre feet for ourselves, and we get the last of it. So meaning if the reservoir was almost depleted, the last
so
is
at
ours.
27%, you're still getting the 17,000 acre feet.
Correct, but up until very recently, we had no infrastructure to deliver that into San Luis Obispo County. So again, eyeballing the future, 5 Nacimiento partners, that would be the city of Paso Robles, Templeton, Atascadero, the county, and San Luis Obispo City came together, ponied up the money, and built it's a very large project. Nearly $200 million was spent on a pipeline to deliver Nacimiento water clear down into San Luis Obispo and to everyone else along the way. So that has just come online. It was built There were a few glitches, a couple little cracks discovered. Those had to be repaired. And right now, that water is finally being delivered into our county. So
perfect timing.
Perfect timing. Could have even come a little sooner.
Yeah, clearly.
But it is a new water supply into our county that was before inaccessible. It was ours, but we couldn't.
Is ag able to benefit from Nacimiento water?
In a kind of a roundabout way. For example, when the city of Atascadero gets their, or Atascadero Mutual Water Company gets their allotment, they are using it in part, as some of the others will be able to as well, and maybe have already started, but they can use it to help re-energize the aquifer.
So let's talk about ag. You represent significant portions of North County, which are ag-centric.
That's right.
And we know that in parts of your district, the groundwater basin is in serious decline, the Paso Robles water basin, other parts not as severe. How are you doing? How are your constituents doing? I ask you every month because
it's okay.
Yeah.
You know, we think of a basin, we live, first of all, Paso Robles Basin, the Paso Robles groundwater basin is one of the largest aquifers in the United States, so it's very big. But it's not one big bowl. So there still are, it's the geology under the ground that prohibits certain areas up in the North County from accessing a lot of water. So they really are, and you know, bed straits when we have a drought cycle, they depend, certain areas depend still on rain and runoff water. That being said, there are many places of the aquifer that are not experiencing declines in the water table, just depending on the usage. We do have concentrated demand around the city of Paso, where a lot of irrigated agriculture has, you know, moved into that area. So what I call concentrated demand, and I'm very hopeful that this new supply of water can be utilized to kind of wean maybe the urban areas that have the infrastructure to use it for human consumption. Once their treatment plants come online in the city of Paso, they would have this surface water as an option, and it would allow them, should they choose, to wean off of the pumped water in the summertime.
And let me ask you about Paso. One of the most lucrative crops, I say that with all positive intent, is wine, the wine grapes. And it really has energized that region. We know that wine is thirsty, the wine grapes are thirsty. And so how is the region working to continue to grow the industry in a way that allows Paso to thrive, but recognize we're facing drought?
Right, and I think what people will have to understand, and the state is mandating this now, you have to come up with the figure based on your best scientific evidence. Where is that break-even point? And then you will be allowed to use that much water, and you all will have to figure it out so that if you're to the point where you can't continue to pump more groundwater, then that'll have to be addressed.
And I understand last year several fields were fallowed, about a third. The yield was down by about a third. I mean, that's a real number.
That's a real number.
Right.
Again, but farming, and we know California is the Central Valley. We see it there in a big way. That's what farming is, and drought cycles are nothing new to California.
We know that the state has issued what's known as curtailment orders for very senior rights holders in parts of the state. Has the Central Coast been impacted yet?
No, because to date we've depended on our own groundwater, and we've been self-sustaining. We might be overdrafting a little bit. We'll have to figure that out or not. But we have to come to where our checking account is balanced with regards to water. But our county has never been dependent on delivered water.
Okay. Her name is Debbie Arnold. She is the chair of the Board of Supervisors in San Luis Obispo County, where we are today. We thank you for having us. My name is Pomerance, and this is Charter Local Edition.